welcome to What's Up Wednesday, where we talk all things mental health. So, welcome for coming. We talk about this is a safe place, love, relationships, uplifting, parenting, motivation, inspiring Black women while honoring Black women who have left a mark on our lives. We carry the torch. We are our sister's keeper. Okay, so this week, American Treasure is Debbie Allen and Josephine Baker. So we always like to make sure that we talk about famous African-American people because, they're constantly trying to take the Black history away. So each week I come with someone new, African-American person. So Debbie Allen, born Deborah K. Allen on January 16, 1950. She's an American actress. She's a dancer, choreography, and singer, director, producer, and a former member of the President's Committee of Arts and Humanitarians. Nominated for 22 Emmy Awards, winning 6, 2 Tony Awards, also a Golden Globe Award, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1991. This year she received an honorary award. She is the younger sister of Felicia Allen Rashad. Love their sisterhood. Blessing my girls will stay as close as they are. I love their love for each other. Debbie Allen also has DADA, which is the Debbie Allen Dance Academy. We'll get more into that. Also, Miss Allen is known most for her musical drama television show called Fame. I'm gonna live forever. You're gonna see me smile, Fame. Anyway, 1982 to 1987. It was phenomenal. I love watching her dance, and she was the principal of the show of When I Tell You, Baby. She was dancing. You had all of this great. Irene Curl was one of her students. It was just really good, and I remember actually had a chance to visit her home in Santa Monica, and right in her doorway of her house, it was the big bongo drums, and I was like, oh my God, I'm really actually in Debbie Allen's house. So that was a really good experience for me. And when I say Debbie Allen is the girlfriend next door, she is the girlfriend next door. When you hear her talking childish, that's who she is. She don't fake no funk. That's exactly who she is, and I love her energy. I probably adopted a lot of that. Just be yourself, and everybody would adopt around you, right? So yeah, I love me some Debbie Allen. Also, Debbie Allen was director of Amistad. Remember? Watch the Slave Ship. Her and Steven Spielberg directed that movie. She went to him. She was trying to get funding and everything, and he actually helped her get it, the funding. So that was really good for her. Let me see. I know I got some more stuff. Yes, so DADA is Debbie Allen's Dance Academy in Los Angeles. She dedicated her life to teaching young children. But let me tell you a little bit of story how, as Black women, we get creative, baby. So some stuff was going on with her daughter dancing abroad. And the lady was kind of like doing a little too much. So Norm Nixon, her husband, flew over there because Debbie's like, it's going to be terrible if I go. So he flew over there, got their baby girl back, which is Vivian. Her name is Vivian. And then she said, you know what? I have the skills. I have the talent. I'm going to open up my own dance academy. And that's how Debbie Allen Dance Academy started from that. Also, if you guys remember Good Times, she was JJ's girlfriend, and they were on their way to the prom, right? That one episode, and it was like, that was a deep episode too. And she kept on saying, well, when they left the house to go meet Florida and all them, she kept saying that she left her purse. And he was like, it's okay, her medicine. and said it's okay. But then later into the show, we found out she was an intravenous user, and the father was trying to act like JJ was the bad influence, but found out his daughter was on drugs, and not just drugs, but intravenous use. So she played on Good Times with that. She also played Three Girls, Three Girls. Now, I've never seen that before, but I'm definitely interested, a check mark to put on my list so I can be able to go see Three Girls, Three Girls. Also, Roots. She played, played in The Next Generation by Alex Haley, who all remember Alex Haley. He is the one who brought the original Roots when we all sat at our TV show in the 70s and watched that sucker. Was on a whole week long, okay? Also, A Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. She also played in that movie and directed Ragtimes. That was a really good movie. And I just found out doing my research that she also was a director in JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling You, the life of Richard Pryor. So that girl been all around. Sweet Charity. We also know we definitely know that she had some influence on The Cosby Show. Definitely the spinoff, which is A Different World. She directed most of all those shows. So we give her kudos to Debbie Allen. Also, let's see. The Amistad, like I said, she did Amistad. And then at 76 years old, because last year, her mom died at 102. And I think Felicia Rashad is like 78. She's 76. They still going. They probably got a good 30 years to go. The mom died at 102. One thing I'll tell you, I love her energy. And I think I steal people's energy. I do. I'm just going to put that on out there. Yeah, I do steal people's energy, the positive energy. And I love to just watch, the energy comes across. Like I said, like she won't stop, don't stop. We love you, Debbie. Keep on doing what you're doing because you totally are giving us all that energy and everything. We love you. So our next person is Josephine Baker. And I don't know if anybody knows. Most people may know Josephine Baker, but I'm here to make sure the youngins know who Josephine Baker is. Josephine Baker was born Frida Josephine Baker, born June 3rd, 1906. She died April 12th, 1975. Her birthplace was what? Her birthplace was St. Louis, Missouri. Yes. She died at the age of 68. But Miss Baker's mother name was Carrie Baker, was a washwoman who had given up her dreams to become a musical hall dancer. That's what they called it, hall dancer. Miss Baker's father was Eddie Baker. He was a drummer. So everybody was all St. Louis is home of the blues, home of the music. So you can't go wrong. There's jazz going on. Michelle with her jazz. My cousin Michelle has a jazz radio station called St. Louis Jazz Radio Station. So you can't go wrong. Music, I think that's why I love music so much. I woke up to music, went to bed with music growing up. So that was just, music changed your whole mood of thinking. When you down and out, throw on some music, honey, and you're guaranteed for your mood to change. Okay? But before Josephine Baker became a famous dancer, she cleaned houses for wealthy whites too. As well, babysitting as well. Never really attended school. She never really attended school. She ran away at the age of 13, and she ran away to be a club waitress. Miss Baker was honored her skills as a nightclub dancer and a street dancer in 1919. Okay, going on to Paris. She later went to Paris. Moving to New York City, performing with a famous performer, Ethel Waters. I will be featuring her soon, Miss Ethel Waters, the Chocolate Dandies at the Plantation Club. Took me a while to say Plantation, but anyway, moving forward. In 1925, at the peak of Fran's obsession with African-American jazz and all things exotic, Miss Baker traveled to Paris to perform the La Vie Niger. I don't speak French, but I'm doing good. Making an incredible impression on the French audience with dance partner Joe Alex, performing only wearing a feather. So you guys can Google that, because when I say she's a beautiful lady, she always wore the finger waves in her hair, but just beautiful. And she just had, like they said before, shake a tail feather. She was shaking a tail feather in 1919, okay? With 1925. But anyway, so she always fought social equality by demanding that her contract contains non-discrimination calls, that her audience be integrated. She was a strong woman, okay? Some strong women back then, baby. Strong women now. I love it. She also, Miss Baker wore a skirt made of 16 bananas. And you thought that Chicha, what's the lady? The banana lady, Tita, started that. No, we did. 16 bananas in Persian audience, and Baker was soon among the most popular and highest paid performers in Europe, having the admiration of culture figures like Pablo Picasso, Ernest Hemingway, yes, okay, and E.E. Cummings, earning the nickname Black Venus, Black Pearl, receiving over 1,000 marriage proposals. Okay, girl, you better do it. Okay? So there was so much racial tension in America, she finally moved to Paris. And many other artists had did that as well. Johnny Gill goes back and forth, and a number of other people say they just get so much better, acceptance there without the racial stuff. Josephine Baker moved her whole family there from St. Louis, Missouri to Paris. Miss Baker, while in Paris, joined the French Resistance, at the time smuggling messages hidden in her sheet music and even in her underwear for efforts and risk of death. Miss Baker was awarded the Croix de Guerre, Longe of Honor, Rosetta of Resistance, two of the highest military awards. Okay. So was she a little undercover spy giving some stuff away? Okay. In World War II, working at the Red Cross during the occupation of the France as a member of the Free France Force. She also entertained troops in both Africa and the Middle East. Well, Miss Josephine Baker, you could just tell her energy was amazing. And energy is so important, guys. It is really important. So we wish her well. May she continue to rest in peace. But we all love Josephine Baker. I can't remember. Someone is getting ready. Actually, artist is getting ready to play her. So I look forward to that. So, each week we come with our topic. So now we're at our topic, and we did our American Treasures. Okay, so last week was my pre-birthday show. This week is my birthday. A little bit superstitious. I'm like, I didn't want to say birthday thing. But anyway, happy birthday. Happy 62nd birthday to me. And I went to California. I had such a good time. But first, when I went to my trip to California was amazing. You only meet special people once in a lifetime. And when I met Miss Ruby Davis, which is my brother's mother-in-law, but when my mom passed away, she just loved me and my sister tremendously, and my sister's kids, my kids as well. But once I moved away, but we always stay in touch. Me and her nickname is Booby. So if you hear me say Booby, so her nickname is Booby, and Booby birthday is May 15th. And Booby turned 85 years young, okay? So it was an honor for me to be able to go and celebrate her birthday. And it was so good to celebrate the life of someone's living. You know what I mean? I'm so glad to be able to travel and celebrate someone who's living, to give them their flowers while they're living. So we had a really good time. If you get a chance, you can look at my Facebook page and see all my pictures from the birthday party, things like that. And I just want to make sure that I honor Booby. Then also the next day was my birthday, and my niece Erica well, I got a chance to see my niece, my sister's 2 kids, and my niece Erica, and my great nephews were there as well, and we had an amazing time. You see me on the electric scooter. Yes, I was on that electric scooter. I said, you know what? I'm always telling my what's up family, Wednesday family, do something different, do something spontaneous, you know, just get out there and do it. Even though my nephew, my baby grandnephew, he was like, okay, Auntie, now be careful, because my girlfriend, she fell and she just messed it up, but don't break hard. So I said, okay, we're going to practice around. You'll still practice around. But I stayed on that little sucker for like 10 miles going, because we were at the beginning of Pier 39, if you know anything about San Francisco, Pier 39. The beginning, you're trying to get to Pier 39, the actual where all the shops and things are. So that was a good 10 miles away. So, you know them young folks, they don't like to walk. I didn't have a problem walking, but they're like, we need to get a bike, a electric bike. We need to do something. I don't know. We're going to be able to make it that far. I'm like, okay, here they go. So that's how we got on the electric scooter. And when I tell you, it was fun. I was stiff. Me and my niece, Erica, we was stiff, man. We was holding on for dear life, but it was amazing. It was so fun. The wind just blowing. And my little great nephew, he just right behind, make sure don't nothing happen to his auntie. I love him for that. And my the older one was in front. He make sure what not gonna happen to his auntie. I was not gonna fall. I was not gonna break nothing. So I appreciate that. But what I've learned, because you know each year you should learn something. And turning 62, I outlived my mother and I outlived my sister. And I'm just glad to be at the age of 62, wishing myself many, many, many more. But you know, when you get, what I've learned is like, sometimes you can get in different environments or with different people, and you realize that sometimes you have to pivot. And pivot just, you know, it means moving around somewhere. You like the people, but you know, you just need to move around, and it's okay. You know, to be able to be in this space, but then you know what, I'm going over here. So it's totally okay. You know, God has not given us the spirit of fear. And that's what I felt when I was getting the electric bike. Don't be fearful. Because on the other side of fear is success. So I rode that little electric bike, 10 miles going. And then, of course, you know, they wanted to ride it back. So it was dust dark, but it was still very much pretty. We rode that little sucker back. I was like, okay, I did that. You know, and I was also thinking about A.R. Vernon, the Word Church. I listened to him as well as my pastor at Change Church, Dr. Darius Daniels and Tamika Daniels at Change Church, the Gwinnett campus. But he talked about long-term trauma produces damaging expectations. You know, so you have to be conscious of that trauma of, you know, because sometimes trauma could be you grew up and you never went, you know, a lot of places, you never was exposed to stuff. So therefore you feel like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't know. What if this, what if that? Things don't happen regardless. You know what I mean? So you might as well get out there and go and do, you know, live life. You know, but that was really interesting when you say long-term trauma produces damaging expectations. So you expect negative things. You expect things to happen, not good things to happen. But it's always going to be, good things. It's going to be bad things. But we always have to know how to pivot. When you pivot, you know that word I'm loving, because then I realized that when I talked about pivot, listen to the sermon on Sunday because I missed church, but I was listening to it on YouTube. My pastor talking about pivot. Every week, last week, me and my girlfriend, we were talking about something. We come to church, Pastor Shamika talking about the same thing. That's when you know you align. You align with the word of God, okay? So just, like I said, pivot. You know, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. And I always say, be around like-minded people. I'm 62. I don't really want to be around 62-year-old people that ain't really doing nothing or talking about doing anything. Even people 70, 75, I don't want to be around. I want to be around people who are 62, who are still trying to do things, still trying to go somewhere, still trying to, you know, evolve mentally. Okay, you can't stay stuck. Remember, I talked about staying stuck. We got to get out of that staying stuck part, okay? Because life is good. So get out of your own way. Sometimes you can just listen to conversations of other people. You're like, you know what? I want to do that. You know what? That would be nice. Because I never thought I would be on the electric little bike thing with my niece, but you know, you just do things, you know, thank God I ain't break anything or whatever. But you know, sometimes your nieces and nephews, they think you could do everything. You be sitting up here like, oh Lord Jesus. But anyway, I had a great time. Also, God sends people on platforms to tell you. I love watching YouTube because I learned so much stuff from YouTube. They have so many platforms that you can learn how to cook something different. Salsa dance. I remember I had a group that I counseled in the Fruitville area, and they would teach me salsa. So don't ever be afraid to open up, because like I said, on the other side of success on the other side of fear is success. You don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? You get on the plane, you go. You know, get on the train. I'm thinking about taking the train ride to Chicago. What y'all think? Anyway, because I definitely want to get on. I'm just thinking of stuff to do, because I'm so glad that I made it to 62, past my mom's age and my sister's age. You don't know, I just dropped to the floor thanking God so much, right? And that probably comes with a part of long-term trauma, like I talked about earlier. Sometime in your head you thinking like, you know, everybody died, I might die, or whatever, but you just keep on going. Thank God for all of that, okay? Like I said, and then also sometimes you go through things and you feel your children are watching. So sometimes you have to be strong, you know what I mean? Because you don't want them to think that, not that you're not strong, but you're human, but they have to know how to pivot through life as well, not to be able to give up. But like I tell my kids, you got like 10 minutes to, you know, worry about, you know, be mad about it. And then the rest of the time, you got to figure out how to move on, okay? Because life is 10% about what happened, but 90% about how you react. 90%, okay? So you got to learn to train your brain like that. You know, things gonna come. When I tell you Black people have went through so much, we are number one when it comes to pivoting life, when it comes to, you know, figuring out how to get things going, how to create things, you know, just like Debbie Allen. You know, my American church, she figured out, she's like, you know what, if you're going to give my baby some problem or what, I'm going to create my own platform. I'm going to have my own dance academy, and I'm going to be able to be there and bring all the beautiful kids in the neighborhood to be able to come, because her dance academy, they have scholarships and different things like that. So no kid is really turned down. And she does the chocolate nutcracker every year. And this is like the, you know, the European nutcracker that comes every year, but Debbie Allen has the chocolate. So if you're around, they travel around too. So, and then also I like to read books and, you know, different things, because I'm always thinking about how to expand myself, how to make myself happy, how to just keep life going. You know what I mean? Have conversations, like my mom said. You should be able to have conversations on every level with different people, okay? Talk about some politics, talk about, you know, what's going on in Europe, what's going over here, you know, just keep your mind flowing, you know? Also, like, so what would I change? You know, sometimes people, you know, you sit back and you talk about what would you change about your life at 62. You know, some things I said I probably would change is probably wish I would have spoke up a little quicker, probably wouldn't have stayed certain places longer. I know one thing, I don't really care about what people think anymore, because when you know you're a good person, don't toot my horn, but when you know you're a good person, because 62 don't come without wisdom. 62 does not come without understanding and knowledge, you know, of the word too. So I'm in my Bible and I know that I'm trying to live a good Christian life, you know what I mean? But you always fighting with your flesh, you know, somebody try to come and go at you or whatever. But the main thing is, when you know you're a good person, then that's the main thing. So grab life and run with it. You know what I mean? Certain people are creating things at 63, 64. Colonel Sanders, he opened up Kentucky Fried Chicken at 63 years old. So it's always time. I don't want to be around. I want people to look at this and say, you know what? I did want to like take a cooking class. I do want to take a salsa class. I do want to like travel on a train to different cities and states and stuff like that. Get up and go do it. Find a way to do it. You know what I mean? You only live with one. The one thing my motto is, when you're 6 feet under, you ain't got no regrets but yours. So if you sit back and don't, like I said, do not let fear keep you from doing what you're doing, just jump. A lot of times I jump. I just jump. I just go. So I was, that Keke Palmer. I love that Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer has the energy, the tenacity to just jump and go do it. And I know a lot of times when you don't have kids, you kind of like do it. But when you have kids, a lot of times your kids make you, explore more, do more, you see more, and you want to be more because you realize that when you're gone. You know what I mean? So that Keke Palmer got that new movie coming out called Boosting. And I remember back in Oakland, everybody talk about Boosting. And if you don't know what Boosting is, watch the movie because baby in Oakland, it was very popular. Okay. But Keke Palmer's on just saying her energy is amazing. Just the way, she just talks and just going after that, and look for her TED Talk. I'm getting ready to do a TED Talk too. So TED, she talked about doing a TED Talk, but just talking about what the things she went through. She's 32, and a lot of people, that's half of my age, but a lot of people have a lot of stories to tell, because think about it, when I was working with crack addicts, I sat back and I saw how the family was being broken down, from putting crack in our community. You know what I mean? And now the crack babies are the babies, they're having babies now. And that's where we're getting all this violence from. That's where we're getting the family broken down. Nobody's doing a lot of family reunions. Nobody's doing like Sunday dinners, like remember soul food, those things like that. But we have to bring those things back and bring our family back together and love on our family. That's why I was so glad to see my niece Erica, because I just totally wanted to love and hug on her and just tell her how much. And when I saw her in my cousin's party, when she brought me there, picked me up, I just like, you know what, I really want to spend more time with her. We had a long talk, and she cried, I cried about things, but I was like, I really want to have more time with her. God gave me the whole day on my birthday. I was like, oh my gosh. She's like, yeah, Auntie, we're going to come pick you up, and we just going, okay, let's do this. So I was just amazed. You tell God what you want, God will give it to you. Okay. So being true to yourself, your true, authentic self. I love hard, and I leave hard, dog. I'm just playing, I don't leave hard. But I love hard, and I love my family, and I'm so glad to see you guys on Facebook Live watching me, because I just thought this platform was needed for all the discrimination, all the racial stuff that's going on with our Black men and our Black women and our children. And I just want to be able to give us a mental health, some joy, some laughter, some history, because a lot of times when we know where we've been, we know where we're going. When you sit back and we talk about the American treasures, of the Black women who have succeeded, who have, still succeeding. Some I have that have passed on, some are still living. So I just want to make sure that we acknowledge them before they try to completely erase our Black history. So if you see a need, then create it. And your need can be whatever. You know what I mean? But see a need, because I grew up and people were doing a lot of things in the community. You know what I mean? So see a need and fix it. Okay? So thank you so much for tuning in to my show. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you again. And I will see you next week. So, but wait. I just remembered. Sorry, I got one more. Yes. So I got to make sure, I do have some stuff to talk about. So I do have to make sure and call out Keisha Lance Bottom, the former mayor of Atlanta, has won the election for governor in Georgia, winning over 50% of the votes. Okay, so they said that she doesn't have to do the votes again. But I'm just making sure she will be the first African-American woman to be governor of Atlanta. And if you think about it, we have a lot of mayors in our states, but we have very, very few African-American people that are governors. So Georgia is turning blue. Also, Kentucky has turned blue too, with one of the senators' seat. Mitch McConnell lost his seat. Okay, so I'm going to say, I want you guys to get out there and vote. We can do this. We can turn this around, okay? Encourage one another. always persevere, determination to move on as a Black woman. We are always overcoming. Our DNA shows it, okay? So also choose you every single day. But I just have to say that. Bye.